Okay, class, this is Mrs. Ayodeji with a quick explanation video of Activity 2. You should be working on it today in class and finish it, and then be able to be ready to present it to me on Thursday morning in class. So based off the student guide for the Activity 2, you're to do basically the main thing is to complete the implementation of the deck class by coding the deck constructor. And the following methods is empty, size, and deal. And then complete a deck tester file that allows us to test whether or not you successfully are able to create 3 desk objects, and then test each of the deck object methods is empty, size, and deal in that. Okay? And that's what I'll be looking for. And so, as you know, in the original file, you already have the basics of the code, and the components of each desk includes a array list of cards. I don't know, we talked about in the video for array list, we use the word array list, but you can actually use array, and it's a list of cards and in size, which is based off of the number of cards in your array list. And you know how to get that if you have the array list method of size. And in this case, what the constructor for deck will do is it will take a list, 3 strings of information, and use it to populate the cards that go into the deck. Okay? And if you recall, here's an example. If I input into the deck constructor the rank string, the suite string, and the value string, then I will get 6 cards. One card will have be named A, the rank A, and named giraffes, and the value 2. B, giraffes 1, C, giraffe 6. And then A, lions 2, B, lions 1, C, lion 6. So it seems like it does a for loop, or just any type of loop to go through, and for each card in the deck, it takes from a rank, a suit, and a value. Okay? And so you can take the size of the ranks list and the size of the suits list to determine how many cards will be in your deck. In this case, 3 times 2 is 6, and that's what you have. And then make sure after you populate the card array list that you set the size of the deck integer as the size of the array list. So make sure you update that. Okay? And the second thing that you have to do is finish the is empty to check to see the is empty method to check if the deck is empty. In other words, if the size of the array list is 0, then that means the deck of cards is empty. And then you have to also establish how to get the size of the deck. Hint, hint, if the size of the array list will get the size of the array list, and then that is the size of the deck. Or if you are constantly updating the int size of the deck, attribute of the deck, you can get it from there. And then I think that's it. Let me double check. Oh, the deal. This one is a little bit more difficult. It's not as trivial as the other, as is empty in size. The deal method is removing a card from the deck and returning it if there are any cards in the deck left to be dealt. Now this is a little bit tricky because what they consider dealing a card is removing the card from the deck, but then returning it. Okay? So what does that mean? It's basically saying that, hey, this card has been shown, not necessarily to actually completely delete the card from the deck, and that's a little bit different than what you might consider a regular deal may be. They give you 2 strategies. One strategy is to take advantage of the array list method of remove, and we talked about that in the previous video. And the suggestion is to remove it from the bottom of the list. That's more efficient, and I can talk about why later. It has nothing to do with the activity than removing it at the beginning. But if you're going to remove this from the array list, you are physically going to remove it from the deck, and you're not going to be able to access it again. But as we all know, we may need to reshuffle the cards, and so in this case, we need a separate discard list to keep track of all the cards that were dealt, i.e. temporarily removed, but you still are going to be using them. So that may be a little bit more lengthier than algorithm 2, which is basically to still keep the cards in the deck and not to remove it from the array list, but add it to the bottom of the deck and then only reference the cards that have not been dealt by updating the size of the deck. So for example, if the size of the deck is 30 cards and then I deal 10 cards, I still have 30 cards in the deck, but my size for the size of the deck will be 20 because I've dealt 10. And I can update it that way, and you still have access to the other cards. And so I suggest this one is a more complete thing. Okay? And after you've done that, you can create the code to test it, basically doing a bunch of system printouts, and I showed you some examples of how to identify the items in a array list in the previous video on array list. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to email me as a class, and I'll be able to get back to you on the spot. Knock on wood. Okay? All right. That's it. Bye-bye.